All right, bonjour, ladies and genitals. It is time to talk about an oldie but a goodie, an old channel favorite, VeChain. It's been quite a minute since we talked about this, but given this morning's events, I think it makes a lot of sense to really take a moment to distill what's going on with VeChain and ask the question: is VeChain undervalued right now? So, folks, if you want to hear my thoughts, price predictions, technical analysis, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. For God's sakes, do it. That way I don't have to keep repeating it. And without further ado, let's delve into it. All right, folks, look, listen, me and Messin, we both run this channel. He called me in an utter panic this morning. I think I heard tears, and he was saying, Brandon, you shielded me VeChain. The number is down. You're a scammer. You're a shitcoin shiller. And so I thought I'd address these allegations in this video. I think I heard some crying. I don't know, folks. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Wish him the best, folks. Let me know what you think is going on down in the comments. But with all seriousness, look, guys, the market's taken a terrible downturn. If we're looking at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin has officially broken its macro bullish price structure. The likelihood of a true bear market where we go down for a year and sideways for a year or two has now greatly increased now that Bitcoin has broken its bearish price structure. But with that being said, folks, we're seeing a couple super interesting things that I think I want to point out to you guys and give you guys a handful of tangible things to look out for to understand when it might make sense to ride a bullish wave with VeChain and if VeChain is undervalued or not. Now, look, folks, VeChain, with VeChain, it's a question of, do you believe if logistics and supply chain tracking on the blockchain is a value proposition with longevity or not? We're already seeing real world partnerships. VeChain was one of those first protocols with real world adoption, and folks, I think a lot of the data being processed in global logistics could one day make its way onto the blockchain and benefit from censorship resistance capabilities. So given that unique value proposition with longevity, does it make sense to think that VeChain is undervalued, being roughly down 81% from all-time highs? Folks, look, with us potentially entering a true bear market, buying anything right now is a bit like catching a falling knife. You know, if a knife's falling and you try and catch it, you might cut yourself, but you might end up catching that knife and then you have a cool knife. So that's kind of what it's like buying VeChain right now. We've broken down from this ascending triangle and we're now forming this descending pennant here. I would say that strong support, I would suspect, would start to come in at just about 3 cents here. That's when volume picks up. That was historically a very price reactive zone. So folks, I think worst case scenario, if we have a flash crash with Bitcoin, some global destabilizing event, we could see probably another 40-ish% move to the downside, in my opinion, before we start to run up against significant support. So just understand that that is the downside. Now, what about the upside? I do want to point out something of extreme significance, which is the daily RSI, folks. We are solidly in the oversold region on the daily RSI. And if we kind of zoom out on VeChain's history and take note of when was the last time we were this oversold with VeChain. I mean, folks, the last time we approached these kind of oversold territories was historically local bottoms. I mean, folks, price could always go down further. Bitcoin is bearish, but the fact that we are in these oversold territories does lead me to believe that at the very least, relief rallies are in the picture and are sensible. So if you do want to try and play that knife catching game with VeChain, I do want to provide you guys a couple tangible things you can look out for to try in time when it might make sense to catch an upswing and a potential relief rally with VeChain. So like I said, folks, we are forming this descending pennant formation, descending triangle, descending narrowing triangle, tons of fancy names. Bottom line, we got resistance here, we got support here. If we break out bullishly here, folks, I could definitely see an impulse going all the way from roughly 8 cents to about 9 cents. That's where volume kicks in. That's where sideways moving price action kicks in, resistance, and that's where historically extremely relevant moving average kicks in, this being the 200 exponential moving average on the 6 hour. Folks, look, there's tons of moving averages, ribbons, bands that act as support and resistance, but I like to identify, and I want to bring you guys one specific exponential moving average that has been historically extremely price reactive and extremely helpful for timing macro moves with VeChain. That is this white line, folks. This is the 200 exponential moving average on the 6 hour. Anytime we have historically broken above this thing, come back down and retest it, we have had significant impulses and significant rallies to the upside. Break above, rally, break above, rally, break above, rally. Even it also helps to time resistance as well. Look at this, strong support over here, strong support over here, strong resistance over here. Break above our moving average, 85% rally. Break above our moving average, 70-odd% rally. So look, folks, I think we have resistance at around 8-9%. Let's say we can spend time above this moving average, then I think at that point it makes sense to maybe get into VeChain as more of an extended swing trade to the upside. But folks, until we can spend time above this moving average, I do think we are heavily bearish. There is that significant resistance here at around 8.5 cents, 9 cents for VeChain. So perhaps we break out bullishly given how oversold we are, but I would be aware of that resistance coming in at around 8.5, 9 cents with VeChain. And if we can break above and if we can hold above this white exponential moving average on the 6 hour, 200 EMA on the 6 hour, then we could probably see bullish continuation, and I would feel much more comfortable riding out an upswing with VeChain once we can spend time and hold this exponential moving average as support. Now, something else we can look out for, folks. Looking at the daily here, things are looking a bit positive. The momentum is starting to shift to the upside. Now, what I would want to note, folks, is that while we're not seeing any kind of bullish divergence on the daily RSI, what we are clearly seeing is support and resistance on the daily RSI for VeChain. If we were to break out bullishly, if the RSI were to do something like this, what am I drawing to, Gold? What did I all of a sudden forget where this, there we go. If the RSI were to do something like this, breakout, folks, on that breakout, that's when I think it might make sense to perhaps play the knife catching game and ride an upswing, ride a relief rally with VeChain upon a bit of bullish confirmation. You could break above this red trend line on price action and get a little bit of further confirmation with a bullish break above this red trend line on the daily RSI. Then it might make sense to try and ride a relief rally with VeChain. Until then, folks, with the total three, basically this is the total market cap of the altcoin market, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, clear head and shoulders pattern, clear breakdown. So the potential for further downside in the market is very real. And folks, what this tells us is that the altcoin market is very psychologically weak, very psychologically tedious. This is in a very iffy spot, folks, to put things lightly. So we definitely do have the capability for the downside. Looking at the stock market, which has been further compounding the weakness and this bearishness we've been seeing in the crypto markets, we're seeing that the S&P 500 is showing weakness, breaking down from this ascending channel that we've been in for quite a while here since September. So this is heavily bearish. Also looking at Bitcoin, we're quite bearish as well. So there are macro factors to be aware of that kind of point towards further downside, although again, with us being this oversold, relief rallies in the near future are in the playbook, folks. So ultimately what I would look out for, folks, if you want to hold VeChain for the next 5 years, then look, every 80% correction in VeChain's history has been extremely profitable to buy. So if you want to hold 5 years, maybe it makes sense. 80% correction from all-time highs, massively undervalued in my opinion. Now, if you care about the short term, if you care about the next 3 months, 6 months, a year or so, then you got to consider the fact that, hey, we may be entering a true bear market, and that if we do get a relief rally, it may just be temporary. So, folks, look, if you want to ride a relief rally, if you want to play the knife catching game, what I want to look out for is confirmation, confirmation, confirmation. If we can break above this red trend line, break above this red trend line on the RSI, and then get a bit of bullish confirmation with Bitcoin as well. If Bitcoin can break above this red trend line on the daily RSI, on the price action, apologies, and then if we look at the daily RSI, we can see a similar triangle forming with VeChain, where if Bitcoin can do this, break above this RSI, on that breakout, maybe it makes sense to play the knife catching game and ride a relief rally with a bit of more macro bullish confirmation. For the moment, folks, again, while I do like VeChain and I think it is undervalued, if you're trying to optimize for the short term, I would want to wait for that confirmation, folks. Wait for some bullish price action on Bitcoin. Wait for that confirmation on the daily RSI. Same thing with VeChain. In that case, I think it would make sense to ride things up to around 8 cents, around 9 cents. Now, if we spend time above our 200 MA on the 6 hour for VeChain, then we could probably see further bullish continuation with a bit more macro confirmation, in my opinion. Now, folks, with that all being said, I want to kind of address the OG viewers of this channel for a while. You know, we used to talk about VeChain a bunch, including myself. VeChain was one of my largest altcoin positions, and I recently sold. Well, sold is a funny word. I recently sacrificed all of it for PulseX, because look, folks, as much as I like the idea of VeChain, as much as I like the idea of dozens of other altcoins in this market, I think they're doing really interesting stuff, have super interesting technology that I love learning about. Ultimately, folks, I'm in this space for life-changing gains. I'm in this space to make money. And so I think I found a much better money-making play with the Hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX ecosystem. So I did sacrifice all my VeChain in order to participate in the PulseX sacrifice phase, just because I do think that is where the money is going to be for the next year or two. That folks, that ecosystem is endlessly interesting, more interesting than any project, more interesting, more innovative than any other project I'm aware of in the market currently. They're trying to address the biggest total addressable market possible, and that ecosystem has the ability to pull through on what they're trying to achieve. I think Pulse Chain is the next Cardano, it's the next Solana, it's the next major Ethereum competitor, and getting into that ecosystem on the ground floor, folks, I just think there's such a clear thesis for the likelihood of making outsized gains and outperforming that market in that niche that it just didn't make sense. I couldn't justify still being in VeChain, regardless of how much I like and think it's interesting fundamentally, because while VeChain could go on to do a 5, 10x, 20x, I mean, I'm looking at that ecosystem doing hundreds of x, if not 1,000x in the next several years to come. So, folks, I just wanted to let our OG viewers know why we stopped making so much VeChain videos. Even though I still like it and I think it's interesting long term, I just think there's more money to be made elsewhere. That's exactly why I've changed my focus and why we haven't been making so many VeChain videos. But I don't want to neglect it. I haven't forget it. I think I might buy VeChain again one day. If we can get VeChain anywhere around 3 cents, I would definitely be a buyer of VeChain around 3 cents. I mean, folks, look, if we do enter a bear market, altcoins tend to fall 90, 95%, even so far as 97%. I mean, if VeChain fell back down to 1 cent, holy fuck. At that point, I'd be selling my kidney to buy that shit. So, folks, look, anywhere from 3 cents to 1 cent, I'm definitely a buyer of VeChain. I'll probably scoop up some VeChain. But for the moment, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon notified of new uploads. Check out all the links down in the description. YouTube likes it when you click buttons. Until next time, folks, take care.